Hello and welcome to today's roundtable discussion for the Michigan Materials Marketplace. Thank you so much to everyone for taking the time to attend today. I know it's a very busy time of the year, getting back into the swing of things with the new year. So I really appreciate the great turnout that we have here today. I believe today is our fourth or fifth roundtable. We launched back in Q4 of 2024, so we're super excited to be continuing to move forward in a positive direction for 2026 and beyond. My name is Troy Brown. I'm a senior account manager at Reaply, which is the tech arm of the Michigan Materials Marketplace. I'm a born and raised Michigander, so I'm super excited to be part of the discussion here today. Um, and today's roundtable is going to be focusing on a critical opportunity for Michigan organizations, which is keeping wood in circulation rather than sending it to the landfill. A cause that I think that we can all get behind. So across the state, valuable wood materials are being removed from buildings and projects every day. Materials that, with the right systems and partnerships, can be deconstructed, reused, remanufactured, or responsibly recycled into new high-value products. It's really all about finding that next highest and best use. So this conversation today is going to bring people and organizations together from a variety of different industries to explore practical, real-world strategies for making that shift towards finding that next highest and best use. We'll take a look at how reclaimed and discarded wood can become a reliable feedstock, how local markets and wood waste derived products can be strengthened, and what it'll take to scale these efforts across the board. Ultimately, this is about building a more circular, resilient materials economy for Michigan, one that focuses on reducing waste, supporting local jobs, and making better use of the resources that are already existing today in our communities. Quick introduction into Reaply. So Reaply is a digital platform that helps organizations unlock the value of underutilized assets, materials, and equipment by making it easy to track, reuse, and redeploy them. So by creating a centralized marketplace and data layer for physical assets, Reaply enables companies and organizations to extend the life cycle of their assets, reduce waste, lower procurement and disposal costs as well. So the platform integrates with existing enterprise systems and workflow systems today, allowing organizations to make informed, data-driven decisions about what they already own. What does that mean for you? What does that mean for the Michigan Materials Marketplace? And what can you do on the Michigan Materials Marketplace? So the goal of this is to create communities to source, sell, or donate surplus, byproduct, or otherwise underutilized materials in Michigan, connecting with businesses to create new local sustainable supply chain connections and leveraging data-driven insights to embed circularity into our operations and decision-making processes here today. So just a quick agenda. In a moment here, I'll be passing it off to my coworker, Daniel Keitzer. We'll be hearing from Matt Fletcher at Eagle. We will have some presenters as well. We're really excited about our three guest presenters that we have here today. And then once those presenters are done, we're going to be breaking off into breakout rooms or discussion rooms, right? So we're going to have everyone evenly distributed throughout some different rooms. And we are really encouraging collaboration and discussion in those breakout rooms. If there's issues that you're having, things you're doing well, things that you need, things you might be helpful, things that you think might be helpful for others to know, please share. You know, it's about making collaborative decisions here and moving forward in a positive direction as a state as a whole. So a rising tide lifts all ships, and it's really going to take a great collaborative effort to have that sort of impact. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get things going here by handing it off to my coworker, the head of sustainability at Reaply, Daniel Keitzer.
Thanks for that intro, Troy. Yeah, and great to see you all this morning. Thank you for taking some time to join us and to talk about this opportunity to move wood into higher and better use. As Troy said, I'm our head of sustainability at Reaply. I've been in the reuse and recycling market development space for quite a while now, including some really cool work in Michigan and with the state of Michigan over the years. So super excited to be with you all today. Super excited to kick off this roundtable series for 2026 as well. I think we've got a lot of really exciting things in store for the next year. So so thank you for joining us and kicking it off in style today. We see a lot of wood materials on the materials marketplace across the country, but also in Michigan in particular. There's a few different, wood on the marketplace is a very diverse category of material for us, and we see listings covering a range of different products and a range of different types with different applications. We see a lot of architectural salvage materials. We see a lot of building materials, dimensional lumber, things that our speaker Chris is going to cover in a whole lot more detail. But that's definitely a dominant wood category that we see a lot of. I would say, next to that, industrial packaging is another very common category of wood products on the marketplace. We see a lot of wood crates. We see a ton of wood pallets of all different sizes and flavors. So if you're in that side of the business and if you're interested in that, definitely be on the lookout there. We have a pretty high number of listings related to treated and contaminated wood. This includes some of the more like kind of heavy industrial treatments like railroad ties, telephone poles, but we also see other quantities of treated and contaminated wood as well that may be like pressure treated wood or things that don't have quite the same application when we're talking about use for organics applications. We see a lot of plywood and OSB as well. Usually, we're not talking about full 4x8 sheets here. We're talking about offcuts. We're talking about kind of weird and mismatched sizes. And then I would say this also includes a substantial quantity of wood furniture, which I'm really interested for y'all to hear from Nick around some creative solutions when it comes to wood furniture, because they're doing some really fascinating things out there in West Michigan. So look forward to that here later in the agenda. And then quite a high volume of what I'm just sort of bucketing as wood residuals. So these are wood chips, mulch. Some of this is scrap wood, branches, things of that nature. And the economy building around that space, I think, is another really exciting thing that's happening in Michigan right now. And I can't wait for y'all to hear from our speaker Julie on that topic, because there's a lot of really exciting stuff happening there too. So that's a little preview of what we're seeing across the marketplace network today. At any time, if you want to dig into any of these listings, or if you want to see what's out there in real time, app.reaply.com using your marketplace login will take you right into the marketplace. And from there, just a simple category search or a simple word search should get you to the things that you're interested in. But with that, I am going to hand things over to Kira, who's going to talk a little bit about the kind of market and some of the gap analysis work that they've been doing in Michigan as well.
Yeah, and I'll just precede that with setting the stage of, this is a initiative of Eagle. So Matt Flechter is here to introduce on Eagle's behalf and talk about, the role of the program, how Next Cycle and the marketplace fit together, and set the context there. So Matt, I'll let you
Thanks,
jump
Kira.
in.
Hi, everybody. I'm Matt Flechter, Recycling Market Development Specialist with the Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes, and Energy. And as Kira just said, this really is an important flagship of our work in developing markets. It connects to Next Cycle Michigan. It's a channel where we're attracting new uses of materials and getting them connected with the services that Next Cycle Michigan provides, and that investment that Eagle has made. And then it also provides to you a tool to move your materials to either find new uses, or move materials that you're generating. I think, Kira, correct me if I'm wrong, I got a couple of slides here. Is that right? want to click through those? I think you've got control. So yes, yeah, as I mentioned, this is an important part of Next Cycle Michigan. We've been developing this tool with Repley and predecessors, and I've been working with Daniel for many years now. Very fortunate to have the expertise that his team and the team at Repley bring to the work that we're doing at Next Cycle Michigan at Eagle. But to remind you all, Next Cycle Michigan is an accelerator platform. We're bringing in businesses. We're supporting them with technical assistance. Building partnerships across the supply chain, and we're using data to drive those decisions to identify where those gaps and opportunities are. Next slide, please. Yeah, and just a short bit about recycling and organics in Michigan. We have a long history of success. And really, the work that we're doing in Michigan right now with markets is leading to success that many of you are going to talk about in the roundtable later today. What your successes are, what you're most proud of, how you are accomplishing that. And really, it's those partnerships that we bring to achieving that success. The work that Michigan Recycling Coalition does, that Centropolis Accelerator and Resource Recycling Systems do to build out the network, and as well as many other organizations, like you'll hear from Julie later and the work that she's doing. Um, I think that, as I said, we're really happy that you're here and you're engaging with this platform. And I look forward to joining those roundtables later on today. Next slide, please.
Yeah, and I think
think
this is
that's
where,
it.
as Matt was mentioning, data is such a core element of Next Cycle Michigan and what Eagle's using to inform their direction and what the marketplace relies on too. So we do want to give a little preview of some data that's actually going to be released in the next month or so from our updated Next Cycle Michigan gap analysis. So some of these highlights just provide a snippet of what a lot of you are probably seeing in reality. So hopefully this aligns and can also help inform where there's opportunity. So on the next slide, you'll see that we've got a 35% recovery of wood waste, which we all know that we can do better and we want to strive for a higher percentage there. Right now, about just shy of 300,000 tons of wood waste is recovered, which is a lot of material, and a lot of you are part of those solutions that are helping recover that, but there's still, 550,000 tons that's not being recovered. So we want to identify where there's opportunities to capture those, whether it's pallets, whether it's painted and treated wood or untreated wood, and get them into the right channels. On the next slide, you'll see a bit more of the breakdown of some of the potential tons that are showing up in municipal solid waste, MSW. So whether it's general recyclable wood, dimensional lumber, engineered wood, again, some of those painted and treated woods, like there's data that we can pull from here of where we need to prioritize our efforts so that we can help align with some of Eagle's goals of a 45% diversion goal and capture that additional 55,000 tons. And as we break this out a little further into the different management pathways on the next slide, you'll see that a lot of material is being reused, repaired, recycled, a lot of wood waste going into composting or being mulched and chipped. And one of the discussion points we do want to bring out during the breakouts today is around highest and best use of material. So where we're seeing material flowing currently, maybe we want to shift around and make sure that we're getting usable, reusable products into the reuse pathways and, combustion or mulch at, the last chance opportunity. So I think, I want to tease this data to, one, let you know that it's coming and please look out for the report, but also how we can interpret this and utilize it for solutions. And just to recap on the next slide, there is a big opportunity to recover more material so that we can reach our statewide goals and larger circular economy goals. Just thinking about current events and as we're getting more climate related events, the March storm last year from ice generated twice the volume of annual wood waste in that one event alone. So as we have more cases like that, we need to be ready. And a lot of you are, I'm sure, already planning and pivoting. But some of those solutions may look like more comprehensive drop-offs. It may look like more investment in reuse channels. So we're really here to talk about those solutions and use this data as a guiding point and a foundation, but really at the end of the day, talk about some of the real world challenges that you see too. And at this point, I'll hand it back to Troy to talk about some of our overall objectives and get into our speaker discussions.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much, everybody. As it was just stated there, some of the key opportunities and objectives for wood reuse and recycling. There's four main ones that we're going to be focusing on here. The first one being a shared understanding of the highest and best use for wood waste, right? Making sure that we're capitalizing on the opportunity to keep it as far upstream as possible, right? Before recycling it or disposing of it responsibly. The second one being a knowledge share of solutions happening and shared challenges, as I highlighted at the beginning of the call. The third one, which Matt and I both touched on earlier, was to connect with supply chain partners to scale and develop solutions. Really building that network and building that community so that we can all move forward in a positive direction. And then the fourth one being highlighting opportunities for utilizing the Michigan materials marketplace. With that being said here, I'm going to introduce today's speakers. First up, we will have Chris Rutherford from the Architectural Salvage Warehouse of Detroit, Julie Manley from the Michigan Biomaterials Institute, and Nick Carlson from Goodwill Industries of West Michigan. So with that being said, I'm going to pass it off to Chris here and we'll get going. And Chris, just as a note, just let me know when you want me to move through the slides here and we'll keep it chugging along.
Okay, great. Let me get my screen set up. All right. Well, hi, everyone. As mentioned, I'm Chris Rutherford, Executive Director of Architectural Salvage Warehouse of Detroit. We're a Detroit-based nonprofit focused on transforming waste into opportunity through building material reuse. And I'm going to give you a quick overview of who we are, how we approach this work, and where we're headed. Next slide. So at our core, we are a reuse operator. We focus on keeping building materials out of landfills while creating jobs, access to affordable materials, and strengthening local reuse markets. We work at the intersection of waste diversion, workforce development, and reuse. And from the beginning, we knew that building supply, demand, and capacity together was critical for the long-term viability of our mission. And you can't solve any of those in isolation. Next. I think we jumped.
Sorry, did I move forward 2 slides? Oh, sorry about that.
Maybe go back a few.
Oh, more. Oh, geez. Sorry, give me a moment here, folks. Is this the next one here, Chris?
Yes, thanks. So we're always thinking about reuse as a system. And when we deconstruct a house, it's not just about what we recover on site. It's about the downstream value of those materials. So resale, fabrication, construction, and supplying materials to other reuse businesses and markets. When we talk about the revenue, we're talking about system-wide economic activity. It's what's happening with materials stay in circulation and continue generating value instead of becoming waste. Next. So we have been operating in Detroit for over 20 years, and we're really proud of that because it makes a difference. We've been able to weather different cycles, different development patterns, different policy environments, and adapted along the way. And big news for us last year, we finally were able to purchase our building, and that's going to help us with our long-term stability and flexibility. And there's just some samples of what we have in the store. Next. As you know, reuse doesn't work without people, and deconstruction, material processing, woodworking, reuse retail, they all are really great career pathways. And through job training and workforce development, we offer fair chance, sustainable employment. Historically, we focused on returning citizens and building skills that are transferable across the building and reuse economy. Next. Our work is visible all over the city. You can see our materials and um, uh, products all over in homes, businesses, and public spaces. And they're consistently being put back into use, both at scale and in individual homes and by DIYers. This is the Detroit Foundation Hotel, where we were one of the main millwork contractors, and another commercial office space. You can see factory windows and ceiling tiles and all sorts of materials being reused. Next. This slide is just to highlight the range of outcomes that we foster. We incubate reuse businesses. We work with folks to do historic preservation and sustain employment for returning citizens without recidivism, and creating products that add new value to the materials that would otherwise be discarded. Next. So we have a really strong, experienced team that's allowed us to get where we are today. And what we're focused on now is how we build on that capacity. And that includes expanding our community uplift program, which is a new program where we provide no-cost materials to families in need. We are currently looking at ways to convert some of the additional wood waste from houses into mulch or biochar or other productive end uses, so that we're keeping even more of the percentage of materials in our deconstructions out of the landfill. And we're also looking at expanding our urban wood reutilization, so recovering trees that are to come down in the city or associated with our projects, milling those into lumber, kiln drying, and putting those back into circulation. Next. So thank you for the opportunity, and I'm looking forward to the discussion. I don't know if we're doing questions now or saving all that, but those are my slides.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much, Chris. I think we're going to hold questions for both the discussion portion of the roundtable today, as well as for at the end if we have any larger ones for the group. So with that being said, yeah, thank you again, Chris. I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to Julie.
All right. Thank you, Troy. Thank you, everyone, for the invitation to be here today. I hope you can hear me okay. So far, so good. Good sign. It's a good start. So again, I thank you for the opportunity to present and really share our space in this world of wood reuse and building new markets, and looking to learn from everyone at the same time. So in short, I'm Julie Manley, the chair of the board of the Michigan Forest Biomaterials Institute. We are a nonprofit organization developed back in 2016. So this year will be our 10th anniversary. So we'll figure out what to do. But in short, our goal is to catalyze innovation and use of materials from forests for a healthy economy and environment. And we do this a variety of ways, mainly through connecting people and resources, convening events, whether they're one-to-one or large events, and we'll talk about some of them, whether virtual or in person. And then finally, we do a lot of collaboration to develop and supply chains, and really to collaborate across sectors, because that's where we find, a big challenge is, your industry, your sector, but really, if we had a use for these materials, we would be using it already. So how do we develop those resources across sectors? So that's where we do a lot as well. You'll note, before I switch slides, you'll note a couple things here. Number one, in our mission, we talk about a healthy economy and environment. It's intentional that we put economy first. We cannot have the environmental benefits of these impacts and these products without bringing these technologies and innovations to market. They have to get there in order to have those benefits. And yeah, I'll go to the next slide whenever you're ready. All right, so using the forestry as a backdrop, that's a lot of the space that we work in, but our impacts go far wider than that, and we look at utilization of forest materials, but a lot of it then our focus does generate on where the material is generated itself in the forest, but we can go anywhere. They're all wood materials, right? And they all have similar applications or opportunity. So with this, I think we all know that there are options on the market today, or outlets, I should say. But I think, at least in our perspective, I will call it, by the way, wood residuals, and I'll also talk about low value wood. I try to minimize the term wood waste. I think we all kind of try to avoid that term as much as possible. But we feel we can do better economically because we're not just trying to get these materials off at to bring and to avoid a disposal cost. We'd like to bring value back to the company, if at all. There is value to this wood. Let's see what we can do to create that opportunity, and then also environmentally to optimize the carbon impacts and benefits of these materials. Just some quick stats: over 50% of the wood residuals or sawdust in Michigan goes to animal bedding. Roughly 30% of the bark goes to landscaping products, and I have no problem with those use. Let's be very clear. That's better than the alternative. But when you talk about, best and highest value use, to me, those are delayed degradation. There's more that we can do. And there's certainly things that we could talk about with coarse residuals or chips and where they go. And certainly we know some are burned for energy. So the catch here is that developing circularity models or reuse models really takes us out of our comfort zone. So taking a look at this forest, this is actually, it's not a picture of my backyard, but it could be. You could go take a walk in the forest and you tend to take that, that path that's, down that beaten path, the one that's traveled a lot. And if you're in an industry, you know your industry, right? You know kind of where it goes, you know how to bring new products to market, yes, there's bumps in that road. I can continue to trip over a root if I want, but generally speaking, that's a pretty established trail, and it'll intersect with your suppliers and your customers, and that's a great path. But when we start going, into circularity, you go off path. If we were just walking right now, it gets harder. We know it does. There's a lot of hurdles that you might not even see yet until you start going off path. You might develop something great, but not be able to get it out to a supplier because you can't find that next path. So we at MIFB try to, convene, connect, and collaborate to try to resolve some of those hurdles and de-risk that path less traveled. Next slide, please. In terms of some of the things that we do, as examples, specifically with wood residuals, we did have a large summit back in May. It was, at least in our terminology, very successful. Matt was there and some of the others on the call, so I hope the nod is good. But we look at, it's a Michigan challenge, but it's a global challenge, and we look for solutions anywhere to apply locally. So this was a global conference. We had people from across the US, not just Michigan, UK, France, Finland is a big collaborator of ours, and others as well. So the solutions can come from anywhere. The question is, can we apply them? Are they right for us? We don't just have to have it sitting here in our backyard. So that was a very, very successful event. The key with that is that we look to I should say with that event, we also had people literally come up to us and say, we've never been in a room like this before. And that was honestly huge, right? Because you're looking to create those new opportunities and talk to people you haven't met and create new doors to open to new markets. And that's what we were looking to do. So we had everybody from loggers, mill operations, finished good providers in different sectors, chemical included, sustainable aviation fuel providers, and everything in that room. So it was really exciting. And we brought together, you'll see that innovators pitch session had all those companies coming forward and talking about their new innovations utilizing wood of various types. Next click, please. That was just one event, but we want to move forward and look at, what can we do year round? So we created this wood residuals innovation series, entirely a virtual, webinar. Whenever we need to run it, we'll run it. Whenever we come across a new technology, in this case, it was woodland biomass innovations. They actually utilize wood chips to generate and develop gas for your car. And it's being done in Pennsylvania right now at a pilot facility. So that's the process where they are. So the good news is we will put your innovation out there anytime. So give us a call if you have something. So this is a call out to all of you. If you have something that you want to have a broader reach on, let us know. It's simple. It doesn't cost a thing. And we will try to get an audience, get your technology in front of an audience. And then finally, it's not enough to just like you have the marketplace. How do we get these, this information out in front of everybody as much as possible? We started creating a list that's on our website that can be searchable by location, by form of the wood, as well as application. So it's a start. Again, call out to everybody. Let us know if you have something you'd like to add. Email us and we will get it out there. Next slide, please. And then finally, we know that developing these markets is not easy. In our case, if I had to say, whittle down all of the challenges to one area, which is very hard to do, but there's a lot of them, we know that. I'd say transparency is a big, big challenge. Number one, we're on a call today, fantastic to be able to share the opportunities that are around. Many times it's very difficult to know what I can do with this material and how do I find these outlets. So that's one solution, and thank you for hosting this. Another is understanding the inventory of low value wood or wood residuals or whatever you want to call it. If somebody out there, whoever it may be, wants to create a new product, they really need to know what their supply of raw materials are. How do we, document this in a way that's usable, whether that's for, very, very large quantities of materials like that may be needed by sustainable aviation fuel companies, or maybe it's something much, smaller. The catch is we need to know it's out there. We need to know where it is, because we also know that transportation cost is a significant issue. So how do we make it accessible, this information accessible for people to make informed decisions? And then finally, understanding the new sectors and what their performance and price specs must be. If we're going to bring something to market, whoever is, it needs to be competitive, like we said, to have impact. MIFME, like I said, really works to connect people and resources, convene and collaborate where we can to help solve as many problems as we can, to utilize wood materials as much as possible. So in closing, I just want to invite everybody to join MIFB. We are a nonprofit, do what you want with it. I'm not a salesperson, but we do have, yes, there's benefits out there, but the key is that we have members have a membership directory. And we have over 100 people in the membership directory. We have 1,000 on our contact list that we continue to develop into members. We hope that, there is, or not hope, we know you can actually reach out to your, to other members confidentially. If they reply to you, great. Then all of a sudden you're connected and you can talk. But you have a way to reach out to people that have a shared interest in this challenge. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me at any time. And I look forward to hearing and learning from everybody today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Julie. Thank you so much. As we stated with Chris's presentation as well, we'll hold questions for the discussion rooms as well as the final discussion at the end of our call. But thank you again to Julie and MIFB. And moving forward here throughout the presentation, we're going to go ahead and pass it off to Nick Carlson at Goodwill Industries of West Michigan. Nick, take it away.
All right. Thanks, Troy. Do you want to go ahead and click to the next slide there? So for any of you that have been a part of any of the presentations that I've done historically, I always like to start with explaining who Goodwill is, because there's a lot of misconception and misunderstanding as to what we do. So I'll be starting kind of left to right on this slide. But first of all, Goodwill is a global company. We're in 14 different countries at this time, and we represent all of the states in the United States. We have over 4,300 locations, retail stores across the US and Canada in particular, as well as some in other locations across the globe. Goodwill Industries of West Michigan is very specific, specifically defined territory located in West Michigan, as you can see with the green coloration on the blue west coast of Michigan map. And one thing that's important, an important distinction about Goodwill as well, is Goodwill is actually more of a social enterprise than a traditional charity. by that, what we do and what we have done since 1902, when Goodwill was founded, is we run our donated goods retail business to support and fund all of our mission programs, which includes helping people to attain, keep, and get trained for meaningful employment, whether that person has a barrier such as a disability or a criminal background. We work with a lot of folks in that area, but also we work with folks with no barriers, but just to try and gain training and do some career laddering. So, for example, a couple of the programs we do run here in West Michigan in particular, we have a certified HVAC training program where we're training folks how to fix and repair HVAC units, heating and air conditioning, and then we help to place them into competitive employment. That is just one of the many examples of some of the technical things that we work on. Our model works that we accept donations. Those donations are then resold in our retail stores, again, trying to keep in mind that hierarchy of use. We also sell items online, and we also have what are called outlet stores, where the items that do not sell in our traditional retail stores get funneled to that outlet store and are sold at a discount. If they don't sell there, we try and find reuse or recycling operation or opportunities for those materials. And then again, we use that funding to provide job training and community investment. Go ahead and go to the next slide. One thing that is difficult is about 20%, approximately 20% of the materials that we receive through donations is a waste of some sort, goes to landfill. That is simply because we cannot find recycling markets for them, or there's no other reuse options for them, or they're in such disrepair that we really can't do much with it. Great example is after college move out, we get all that IKEA furniture that is broken, chipped, and doesn't fit in the peg holes anymore and really isn't valuable enough to fix or replace, or do much with other than replacing in the future. Wood, Goodwill Industries in West Michigan, we estimate that we're throwing away approximately 500,000 pounds of wood-based product per year just in the Muskegon area. There are 150 different Goodwill locations or Goodwill organizations across the United States and Canada. Our Goodwill is about a $25 million donated goods operation, which is actually mid to small size, compared to some that are $200 to $300 million operations with all the donations and population density that they have. So for the wood, we've been trying to explore creative solutions for reducing our wood waste. And one of the companies that we've been working with is Israeli-based Dyka Wood, which has invented a proprietary bonding agent where we're able to shred and grind our wood down to a powder, mix it with their proprietary material, and then it is able to be made into new wood products. So these are just a couple of tiny examples, but essentially, if you can picture a Play-Doh workshop, essentially we can take wood waste and mix it with the material and then make it into new products. Our focus is primarily on our own wood waste. Obviously, there are going to be some things that cannot go through this process, such as items with lead-based paints or different toxic materials. But a lot of the material that we do handle will be able to go through this process on site for us to be able to convert the wood material waste that we have into new products. And we are actively looking for and working with manufacturing companies that are interested in having things manufactured by Goodwill through this process here in Muskegon. I'll hold up real quick. You may not be able to see me or my picture or my video, but you can see here. This is just kind of one example of some of the material that's been made out of wood waste and residuals. Our goal is to, again, use post-consumer waste through Goodwill, as well as wood residual waste through the forestry groups, sawmills, things like that, and then potentially post-manufacturers waste as well, so sawdust created for manufacturing. Go ahead and click the next slide. These are, again, just some samples and examples of the different styles, colors, inks that can happen. And if you saw the one that I held up, there's a whole bunch of different, actually beautiful and aesthetically pleasing designs that we will be manufacturing here in Muskegon. Go ahead and go to the next slide. In 2026, we have this 90,000 square foot facility with 1,600 solar panels helping to power it. In the next 4 years, we'll be moving our outlet operations to this site. And additionally, this is where we'll be doing a lot of the remanufacturing activities from waste products, as well as the recycling activities. Essentially, all the materials that can't sell in our territory will come to this location to go through our outlet sales as a last chance opportunity to sell. And then if it cannot be sold, it goes into the back part of this operation to be manufactured into something new. We are working on solutions not only for wood, but also for glass, plastic, textiles through this location. We are hopeful that our Dyka Wood partnership and our wood recycling operations will begin operations this summer, late summer. So fingers crossed that we don't run into any big hurdles, but that is where we're heading. And very much appreciate the support from Eagle, MRC, and a lot of the other folks on this call, including the Next Cycle team and RRS, for helping to make this all happen. And yeah, we're super excited about our future. Go ahead and go to the final slide. Again, once we get to questions, I'm happy to answer them. If you have interest in having products manufactured or talking with me about something around this, we'll make sure you get my contact information.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Nick, for that excellent presentation. And we're going to be moving forward here now into the breakout room portion of today's roundtable. So just taking a step back here and looking at the big picture, Michigan circular economy is a complex ecosystem with a diverse array of participants. Productive systems need a central nervous system. We think that technology can help with that. So with that being said, thank you again to Julie, Nick, and Chris for giving those excellent and informative presentations here today. We are going to be splitting off into the breakout rooms momentarily here, where we will be aiming to discuss three main topics, although let the conversation go wherever it does, right? If there's other things that come up, if there's other questions or other topics that people would like to discuss, we encourage that. Once again, we want it to be a very collaborative and kind of group discussion here in the breakout. So the three main topics today are going to be the logistics of wood recovery, the innovation of wood recovery, and then filling in those additional gaps in the system. So with that being said, my coworker Jen is going to be splitting us out into our breakout rooms here. So we will see everybody back in here in a little bit, where we can wrap up with some closing statements, as well as answering some questions that you all might have. All right, I see some people starting to trickle back in here. I believe all of the rooms will be closing in about 10 seconds here, so we should have everybody back on the line momentarily. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Thank you to everybody for their participation in the breakout rooms there. I'm actually going to put some of the breakout room leaders on the spot here, Daniel, Matt, anybody else. If you have some breakout room debriefs, if you have some highlights from your guys' session or some talking points that seem to have struck an accord with some of the individuals in your room, love to share with the class here. Yeah.
We had a great conversation that primarily focused around wood residuals that are growing out of the ground, not industrial wood residuals, although we did have a bit of a connection with Brad Austin and the work that he's doing in the composting facility. But we spent the majority of our time talking about disaster debris, um, emergency management debris, and how that's working in northern Michigan. Um, I think that we were just having I thought a really useful conversation because I was learning from Lindsay related to carbon sources at composting facilities. And I kind of want to give Lindsay back the floor for a second, and then if that's okay, I know we can go. We don't need to recap everything, but I wanted to hear what you had to say because I thought it was an important thing related to how wood residuals intersects with composting, and we need to all understand that market better because not everybody on this call probably does understand that market, and I think you do really well. So could you repeat what you said there at the end? You
Sure.
don't mind?
Yeah, thanks, Matt. So in fast, and I'm gonna talk really fast because there isn't much time. But so I would say Matt was asking the question in conversations with Mike Sapo in West Michigan in regard Southeast Michigan, Southwest, so excuse me, Southeast Michigan in regards, forgive me, in regards to how are we gonna manage all this food waste in Michigan? And how are these composters, where are they gonna get these carbon sources for? And I was like, leave that up to the composters to figure out their technologies for getting the carbon sources that they need. Anaerobic digestion is still a possibility for managing food waste, and there is a competition for resources in Southeast Michigan for wood. So just let anaerobic digestion, let technology, let composters figure out their carbon sources. We should always be looking to highest and best use. And work that like folks are doing in Southeast Michigan, especially the architectural salvage and goodwill over on the western side of the state, like that is highest and best use. And so let's continue to think about it that way. Logistically, it's very challenging in Northwest Michigan to deploy alternative technologies or ways of grading and looking at lumber differently for its highest and best use. And sometimes when you're in an emergency management situation, you got to act right now, and so you can only use the infrastructure and the resources that you have to manage a material during emergency storm debris.
That was a great summary, Lindsay. Yeah, you can see our group was pretty. We were pretty energetic over there talking
Firing,
about
yeah.
these issues. So hopefully all the groups were that as interesting as ours. But that's a good summary um, of what we talked about.
Awesome. Yeah. Any of the other breakout room leaders want to interject with anything that was interesting on their calls in particular?
I can pop in next. I mean, we
Yeah.
briefly discussed some challenges and contamination, but going off of Lindsay mentioning highest and best use, the idea came up of the benefit of having an agreed upon, chart or source of like what is our hierarchy of highest and best use, and making it industry accepted norm, whether that's set by Eagle or some of our other trusted leaders in this industry. So something that we can all point to. And I think in parallel, another idea that came up is around having who are the solution providers for wood material and who are the generators, and having that list that's clearly published and can even mesh with, and where do people fit in the highest and best use. So I think those are clear actionables that we can help follow up with too, and I thought were exciting takeaways. So, and I'll
Awesome.
open if anyone from my group wants to add anything in, but I think it was a fun discussion.
Nice.
We had
And
a
then
great group with really across the entire supply chain, which is so cool. Nick Carlson was there from Goodwill, so we had heard his story. Rex Lamour with MSU Center for Economic Development, really looking at how to do systems change and think about material use from the very beginning of design, manufacture. We had those looking for end users for biomass with North Star Clean Energy, and Megan from Veoleum Corporation. So folks really looking at like feedstock sourcing, issues of contamination and compliance, Recycle Ann Arbor, smack dab in the middle of the supply chain. Like, how can we find highest and best use end markets for these materials? EcoCore with seeds, really looking at training folks in wood rescue, which is really, really cool. And who am I forgetting? Anyways, anyone else want to jump in? We had a really great conversation about challenges, logistics, opportunities, supply chain, build out. Nick shared a lot more about the opportunities they see with Diaco across the US. So really great conversation. Anyone want to jump in that was on our team?
Hey, if not, we'll kick it over to Daniel,
Perfect.
and we can keep things moving here. Thank you so much.
Yes, we were super fortunate to have Julie with us, and we didn't have time to go into all of this during the speaker presentations, but Julie highlighted a few more really cool technology innovations that are out there in the space, and it's just so phenomenal to hear that. That's a direct plug for getting involved with MIFB here, because there's just so much really awesome things that they're exposing in this space that I think would be of benefit to everybody here. We talked a lot about biochar and applications for biochar, and one of the topics of discussion there was around how do we create a greater market pull for biochar, and how do we really get the word out around the benefits of using biochar, especially in agricultural applications. There was a note in our discussion to connect with the other Daniel on the call today, Daniel Marbury, to talk about some of the work that's being done with some small ag producers in northern Michigan. So we'll make sure that connection gets made after this. But yeah, I think pursuing opportunities to really connect with end users there would be a really great boost for that. So yeah, great discussion, and really looking forward to some of the follow-ups coming out of it.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much to our breakout room leaders for facilitating those what sound like great conversations. That's what this is all about. So really appreciate all the effort you four put in there, and obviously all the participants as well. We have about 7 minutes left here. I want to be very cognizant of everybody's time. If there are questions for the presenters that were on earlier in today's call, Julie, Chris, and Nick, if there's anybody that has a specific question for any one of those presenters, feel free to speak up now, ask those questions, and then to wrap things up here, I'll pass it back over to the Next Cycle Michigan team for some last minute announcements and next steps here.
Yeah, I'll second the thank you for everyone joining. It's great to have the group here. And on the next slide, you'll see a few ways you can get engaged. I mean, I think the first one is, of course, encourage you to join the Michigan Materials Marketplace. Whether you have material, you're looking for material, you want to see what's out there, I think it's a great tool and resource. Next Cycle Michigan has a bunch of programming coming up this year. Our first opportunity to engage is going to be the Accelerator opening applications again in February. And that next cohort is focused on recycling supply chain solutions and some of our public-led solutions. So public sector, communities, counties can apply, but also some of our haulers, some of our folks that are processing materials. So that opportunity is going to be a 6-month cohort bringing people together to scale their solutions and innovations. There are some grant opportunities open right now too. Eagle has recycling infrastructure grants open. Those are due January 28th, and circular economy grants are also open right now. Those ones are due March 13th. And I'm always happy to meet with people if you're trying to figure out which grant is the right fit for you. Recycling infrastructure is more focused on infrastructure, while circular economy grants are a bit more broad and pretty material agnostic. And then also encourage you to connect with our speakers, whether it's joining MIFB or even working with Nick on getting him more material for his operations. And this network is large and expansive. The Michigan Recycling Coalition is a partner with Next Cycle, and their annual conference is coming up in May. I think that's a great time to reconnect with some of these same people who may be attending and continue the conversation. We don't want it to stop here. So with that, I'll close out and thank you for being here. Really appreciate everyone making the time and adding to the discussion and bringing forward some of your challenges and ideas for us to keep improving what we can around wood recovery. So, and I'll put my contact in the chat as well for anyone who'd like to reach out. And I see Daniel included the Reaply team's contact info as well. So thank you, everyone. And Troy, you're on mute if you wanted to make any other notes.
I am on mute here. Apologies there. Thank you so much. Yeah. Well, today's session was recorded. So unfortunately not the breakout rooms, but everything at the beginning and at the end was recorded. So we'd be happy to share that recording with the participants on today's call. We can try to get an email sent out with a link to that recording. So thank you again for all your participation today. And hopefully fostered some good things to come here.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.